G'day and welcome to another edition of my backyard. Right now we've just hit winter and or local season of muckaroo in Nyungar seasons. So the government's just come out and the state government's just come out and said we've got another reduced sprinkler day for our bore water usage. So why have I dug a big hole? It's not to put all of my dad jokes in and bury them for good, because they're very good and they don't deserve to be buried. But I'm going to tell you why right now. So last year I toyed with a little version of aquaponics. I wanted to give it 12 months worth of testing to see if I could do it at a bigger scale. So right behind me here I've got a little system which I'll take you through, but effectively I made up a box, fiberglassed it and filled it with water, and then I basically put a pump, made another box that sits on top, so it pumps from the bottom up to the top and then it flows back down again. Put fish in that bottom tank and grew flowers and veggies in it for 12 months in the full sun. But I had a couple of problems. One is that it got way too hot in summer and the fish that I got died probably in March because of just the heat. So figured it was probably too shallow. And also that there were some species of plants that I grew in there that I think also took the oxygen out of the water. So, but it did grow some really good veggies and it did grow some really good flowers. So that's inspired me to dig a great big hole in the backyard and try and do fish aquaponics on steroids. So what's the plan? So I don't normally draft plans up. I haven't measured this and I certainly haven't calculated the depth of the water. I figured I'd just dig a really big hole first and kind of work out the rest as I go. So, but I want you to be part of this with me. In my head, I think that it's going to work, but I don't really know if it will. So it's all trial and error, but you can come along and enjoy the journey with me. So the theory is that you use the fish water down here, you pump it up into here, into the top, as you can see, pumping nicely, flows down this end, where it then basically drains away and aerates the soil. Here we've got some kangkong, some beautiful kangkong that's going well. I've got a little bit of silver beak, but there aren't any fish in there at the moment. So it's this circular system. And why is this important? Is because when summer comes, this will be filled with water, it'll have fish in it. It'll be basically rotating, where I'll have a table sitting on top that pumps water up into, and I'm going to fill it with aggregate in here, and then I'm going to plant that out so it becomes another growing bed, like the wicking beds over there, but this will be full of water, full of nutrients, fish, aggregate, and a circular system. And so the 2 watering days doesn't really apply to me, because this will be effectively a water aquaponics system. So theoretically, counterintuitively, maybe crazily, I actually think I'm going to save more water by doing this than I will by doing watering lawns or whatever it might be in the ground. So see how it goes. So what am I doing with all the sand? Well, I don't want to pay for someone to come and take it away, so everything's getting a top dressing of sand. So everything in the chook pen, that is. So if you have a look in here, I've been layering up the sand in here so the chooks get some nice sand that they can actually have a bit of a bath in. Hopefully all of that sand can be spread evenly and create a nice new sand pit for the chooks. That's the theory. So the theory is that once this hole's been dug to the right depth, I'm thinking maybe around a metre, 800 to a metre, they'll then put a pad down on the bottom, concrete the pad, and then brick it up inside the pond, and probably brick it up to about 500 above the ground, fully rendered. So it becomes a 1 to 1.5 metre depth pond, and that should see the fish through, be enough water to see the fish through a hot summer, but also be enough to circulate enough nutrient and have enough fish in here. Now if I use the right fish, I can also grow those fish out and sell them on. So I'm thinking maybe a koi could recover some of the costs or could pay for some of the upkeep. So the nutrients are in a tight circle here, and hopefully the fish that grow out in here could also be sold on to koi lovers. So living in Perth, we're faced with quite a dry and a drying climate. Climate change is a real thing in Western Australia, and that's part of the reasons, I guess, that the government's brought in restrictions on groundwater use. Now, as a gardener, I have a bore, and I do enjoy my 3 days a week that I do get to water, but that's going to be reduced down to 2 come September. So what I'm doing as a gardener is needing to find out innovative ways in which I can reduce my water needs by installing water efficient garden beds. This one behind me is a wicking bed, which I'll talk to you about a little bit later in another episode, but it's also the reason that I'm starting to stage into fish aquaponics, is because I believe that is more water efficient than simply watering into the ground. So this is me drought proofing my veggie patch, but still being able to garden within the means, making sure that I buy cottage garden plants that are both useful for me and our family, and also our pets and the birds and the environment, but also useful for the climate, so and the drying conditions that we're experiencing here in Perth. So I finished digging a big hole. Project achieved on the long weekend. Feeling pretty happy. Having a nice swim in here, all the fishes. I think they're going to like their new home, but if you want to stay tuned and see how all of this develops, I'm going to be tracking this as we go. So like, comment and subscribe, and we'll see you later. And no, I know what you're thinking, this is not 6 foot deep, it's only 3 foot, so get it out of your brains. Bye.